Jeanna Gabellini, welcome. So excited to have you with us today to talk about how to rock a launch. Tell me about why you love launching so much.
So we started planning 9 months ahead, which doesn't mean that you're working on your launch all the time. It just means you're brainstorming and you're getting excited and you're coming up with awesome ideas and you're like percolating. You're not necessarily working on it, but you're percolating. And I just think that part of it is so much freaking fun because in your marketing, you get to shine. You get to come up with these brilliant ideas that come from inspiration, and it's like that's what sets you apart from other people launching. It's like, what can we do that's different, that makes me excited to share with the world? Because I don't want to just be like, okay, here's the appropriate thing to share, this is what I've been told. You just get to do it your own way, and that part excites me because I think that marketing is a breeding ground for creativity.
What really strikes me is how creative you are in your launches. So you go way out of the box and you try different things. And I love that. It's so unique. Can you tell us about how you come up with some of these out of the box promotional things, some of your content that you give away?
Yeah. So I was just looking at what in my particular topic is about money. When I launch a program, it's about money and how to double your profits, double your fun. And when I think most people don't equate making money and fun. Those two separate things. They don't go together. It's like stress and money go together. And I thought, well, I got to get people out of their heads. So what do I like to do? What am I always preaching? Make it a game, make it a game. So we've come up with a lot of games to get people out of their head and feel like they're playing with money rather than working hard at it and got to figure it out. And I think that people could tell that when I'm launching, I really do love it. I love doing my webinars. I do Jeff Walker style launches and product launch formula, and I think that's awesome, but I also do it in a way that feels good to me and it keeps evolving each year. I like to do a lot of live stuff. So, a lot of people just do videos in their launches, and that's not my genius. So I play to my strengths, which is let's get on the phone, let's do webinars, let's open it up to live Q&A, because that turns me on and I like to connect with the people. And it feels like when I'm connecting with the people, they're buying.
Awesome. And I love how you are so big on working with JV partners. And I'd like to talk about that. What I think is really cool about that is how personal you make it. And so it's not always about who's going to help Jeanna? It's like, okay, Jeanna's like, oh, who can I help and how can I help? And you give away your stuff as bonuses and you introduce people during their launch to your community through live events. I think most people really don't consider doing that kind of stuff. They only look at it when it's theirs. Can you talk about kind of your philosophy on that and why it works?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't used to do it that way. And it used to be if somebody somebody asked me to promote them, I stuck a little blurb in my e-sign, or maybe I sent out one solo email, and guess what? Nothing happened. I never made money. I did it this way for years. God knows, I'm a slow learner. It's like, this is not profitable. What am I doing? And I finally had a wake-up call when I went to a JV summit where I was around a bunch of other people who made a lot of money doing joint ventures. And I thought, wow, they're really intentional with what they're doing. They are putting heart and soul into this. It's not just some casual, yeah, I'll promote you if you promote me. It's how can I help you make sales? How can I target the right and perfect people for whatever you're selling and go all in? And I thought, I don't do that at all. I am so not intentional. I'm just doing it more because I like the person. Sure, I'll do that for you. And it all changed when I got very intentional. Like, wait a minute. If I'm going to do this, I'm in it to win it. I want to make money. I want to support this person because I don't promote somebody unless I really absolutely do totally believe in what they're doing and love their style of delivery, because I know it's going to come back on me. It's happened before. I promoted somebody once who I thought was cool, but I didn't really know their material. And people came back to me and said, that guy sucked. He was, I couldn't get a hold of him. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my reputation. So now I really get just sending a canned email isn't going to spark the interest of my people. And almost always I have an in-depth experience of the people I'm promoting. Either I know them really, really, really well and I've got to see them in action, or I've taken their course or bought their services. It's like, if I speak from the heart, then that whole, it opens up people to listen more to what I'm saying rather than just some canned thing. So yeah, it's my philosophy is promote people I absolutely love. And if I'm in it, I'm going to be in it to win it. Because I notice even if I still to this day, I'm like, oh, I can't promote you. I've got all these other things going on. And I end up saying yes. And I could just stick in one email. It still doesn't do the trick. I mean, promoting something once doesn't really grab somebody's attention, right? That's why I'm always telling people, don't be afraid of emailing your list. We all need reminders, even when we see something that's really good for us.
You give away so much in bonuses. How did you come to do this and to start really playing like this with them?
I was really nervous at first. It was definitely, I tell people often, it was a scary, very scary thing because I felt like I didn't want to bug people. Everybody's asking for something all the time. I know I get hit up probably almost every day to support somebody in a lunch or a summit or something. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm gonna bug people. And I didn't want it. I had all this resistance. So I thought, again, what would make it fun and easy for me? Because otherwise I'm going to sit here and procrastinate and not reach out to people. And my launch is not going to be a JV launch because I won't have any JV partners. So I got a lot of coaching to help me get over the fear and really reach out to people. And I had this gal actually say, why don't I give you an introduction via email to a few people? And I said, cool. Because of course, when it came time, I know a lot of people, but when it came time to ask, I'm like, I don't know who to ask. I don't have anybody. I was frozen with fear. And then once I got the hang of it, I thought, okay, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to make videos. And I don't even like doing videos, but I thought I'll do a personal video to people and just say, hey, this is what's going on. Let's get hop on the phone. We'll chat. And then it became a game. What if I could send out 5 of these a week, and how many JV partners can I get on board? Let me just make up some crazy amount of people. So I think I wanted 50 people at first. And then once I reached 50, I said, I'm going to go for 100 JV partners. And I just got a little crazy asking people because it's like, if I'm going to do this, I got to get over the fear. So I'm just going to totally put myself out there and make it like a personal growth experience. And so I did. I made it a game to see how many people I could reach out to every week. And I asked a lot of people for introductions, like, hey, even if they said no, I didn't care if people said no to me. I just wanted to create relationship and meet new people. And it ended up being a really great exercise for me. If someone doesn't say yes to you now, it doesn't mean no, not ever. It just means no, not right now.
Cool. I love that.
I don't know. Here's what I think. I don't think it's just the one thing that I do. I think it's the combination. And there's been a few things where people said, oh my gosh, how could I resist that? Straight up, the Obama thing. I might have done it in I did audios one year. I had an Obama impersonator do audios. And there was one gal who was in the UK that said, I don't even live in the US, Jeanna, but that was hilarious. And I'm going to promote you based on that. So yeah, I think the culmination of like, all right, already, you got me. Some people I got to work on. I got to send them a few different things before they say yes.
That's fantastic.
It's always trying to make it playful because people get really serious, too serious in launches. I know for me, I got to keep my vibration and mojo up because I can make it serious too. So I do all the things that I would want done to keep me involved and keep it exciting. So that's what I like to do with my partners, because the more they're involved and connected to you and they feel like they have that connection, the more they're going to mail and go all out rather than just, I'm going to send this out because I said I would. We want them to feel connected, inspired, and happy to promote you. You want to have a good experience. So even if they make money, which is great, if we don't have fun in the process, I'm not sure that people are going to come back and play with me again. I personally know that hanging out live in person with your JV partners creates a very serious bond where you become friends. And not just like I'm going to hang out with you for 2 hours, but if we go on a trip together, we're going to do some bonding. Like I won a trip to Italy with some JV partners in another launch. And it was obviously I'm Italian and I love Italy. But we were together for a week, we weren't out of each other's sights. We had such a rip-roaring awesome time. And you can bet that I will go all out for every single person that was there when they launch something because we're connected. And I do the same thing in my launch. I just took my top JV partners just a couple months ago to have a water ski weekend. Water skiing is my thing. And so I rented a house out at the place I water ski and I had my top partners there. And one of them I already knew really well, but another one, I had never spent a lot of time with them. And he's somebody who, is much more, both of them were much more successful than I. And so I got to pick their brains and hang out and it was just a blast. And now there's a deeper connection. So I'm a big fan of experiences together. I think that really promotes a long lasting relationship and it's fun. People helped me out. Why wouldn't I help other people out? And 2, the truth is people with very small lists can do well in a launch if they don't, especially if they get that limitation of, I have a small list, I don't know if I can make any sales for you. I had one of my clients promote me, and she's not even in the same market as me. She's a fashion designer, and she had about 1,000 people on her list, and she was in my top 10 partners my very first year because she was able to speak from her own experience with me. Like, here's the results I got from Jeanna, this is what she can do for you. And she just crushed it. She doesn't even know how to market. At least then she didn't. That was just not her strong suit, but just speaking from the heart and doing it her own way, she got a ton of clients for me, and she got a sweet commission, and then she got to participate with all these other people and all the fun experiences I gave as my prizes. So I think that people with small lists do have something to offer. So I think we all should open up, and it's not to say that, they may or may not crush it for you, but it doesn't matter. You never know who's going to be a top contender for you.
Awesome. And now, what would you say to somebody who's thinking, they see people doing launches, they've seen your launch, they've seen Jeff Walker, they've seen all the big names doing these massive launches, and they're like, okay, I want to do that. At what point do you say, go for it? And what point would you say, maybe not yet?
I think that if you plan ahead and you don't, I always get nervous when people say, I've come up with this idea and I'm going to launch it in 2 weeks. I'm like, 2 weeks? Seriously? You don't have a list, you have never done this before, and you got to get a plan together. So I would say you're not ready if you're planning something even a month out from scratch. I would definitely take my time. I would do at least 2 to 3 months out. I mean, that gives you enough time to not stress. You don't have to have JV partners to launch, but if you choose to, even more time would be better because everybody has busy schedules. They're launching their own things. Even if there's somebody who's small, who is your JV partner, they have their own thing going on. So I would say start further ahead and always, always, always get help. Trust me from experience, even though my first launch was a 6-figure launch, I did have help, but I didn't really know how to launch. I'm still figuring it out. Honestly, I keep learning more and more and more. I think it's a big growing process, but I think that if you watch other people do it and then you're just going to try to do it on your own, I don't recommend that because there's a lot of, you want to put in some good amount of time and effort and your inspiration, and it will cost you a little bit of money up front to put things in place. If you're going to do it, I say do it well. Even if you're not doing a huge thing, get some help from somebody that knows how. If I didn't have my marketing guy working for me, there is no way I could have pulled that off. Like, no way. I hadn't been through Jeff Walker's launch stuff before then. I didn't know anything. So I was just kind of watching what other people were doing. I was getting help from my marketing guy, and by sheer intention, I think I pulled off a 6-figure launch my first time. So I would definitely say get help. And you're going to want, because there's going to be things that you think you understand, and then once you go to implement, you're like, I'm not sure. There's so many questions that pop up while you're doing a launch. It can get confusing and overwhelming because there's so many options. And if you watch other people doing launches, wow, there's so many ways to do it. There's so many ways to do it. And you want to decide, do I want to keep it simple? I definitely think first time out, keep it simple. I did a launch earlier this year where I was launching something that was brand new. I was just coming off of my other program, Profit Quest. And I thought I was in the middle of that, delivering that product. I was going to launch my new program called Ecstatic Marketing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm a little overwhelmed. Let's just keep it simple, Jeanna. We don't need to do all the videos. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to give away one freebie cheat sheet around marketing. We're going to do a webinar or 2, and that's it. And we're going to get what we get. And it felt peaceful. I was like, wow, this felt easy. It was definitely all from inspiration, and I pulled it off in record time. I was doing another class at the time, so I didn't have much time to get my launch stuff together. But I obviously have, what do you want to say? Experience with launching, so I knew what it was about. So I was like, I'm going to keep it simple. This is what feels good, and I was able to pull it off. So you don't have to do the big, I'm going to do 4 videos and do the whole thing your first time out. If that feels overwhelming, like dip your toe in. But definitely you want to have a plan. Without a plan, you are winging it, and I don't think that's a good way to do a launch of any sort. Launching is a learning experience. So be in it to learn about marketing, what works, and tightening up your message and really seeing what lands for people and seeing what's fun for you. I have really learned that one of the most fun I have during my launch is during the live Q&A sessions after my webinars. I love it. I thrive on it. I'll stay on the phone for hours and people are buying. When I'm answering questions, people are buying because I'm enjoying it. It's not like I'm looking at the clock going, oh my God, I've been here for an hour. Let's wrap this up. It's like, wait, this is fun for me. So I think it's really important to do a launch that you are comfortable taking your time planning out. It's fun for you to deliver and create. And it's important to know that this is a learning curve. And every single time you launch, you're going to learn something. I mean, I have launched mastermind programs where I sold zero. My first mastermind, I didn't sell anything. And it was such a huge experience. It was painful right in that moment. When the cart closed, I'm like, nobody bought my thing. That sucks. How am I going to make money? How am I going to leverage my time? I was counting on that. And when I was able to let that go and know that I would find my next revenue source, the next month was my biggest month I'd ever had in my business. I had tripled my income from the previous month. So we just have to stay open and know that every single time we're going to learn something about, most of it is mindset. The truth is, when our mindset is small and worried, we don't have access to the right and perfect strategies that will work for our people to say yes. I can say all the wrong things, but when I am clear on what my program will do for people and the value that it brings, I can't screw it up. I can't, because I'm in my power and I'm so clear about what this thing I'm doing will do for people. I am really clear that I probably have not done the most productive launches up until now, even though I've made multiple six figures in launches. I am still learning. And I know that the only reason I do so well in my launches is I have a blast doing them, and I am so clear about the value that I'm bringing. And so it's like, to me, I'm a law of attraction girl. So there's nothing more attractive than people who are in their power, and your people get that, and they will say yes, even if you totally screw up all the marketing, you screw up the pitch, but you're really clear on what you're offering and the value it brings.
Awesome. Thank you so much.